We're picking back up on the life of Joseph in chapter 39 of Genesis. This is a pretty well-known story for a lot of reasons, but Joseph's life is now progressing on. Joseph has a lot of commendable traits. First of all, he's very reliable, very dependable. Verse 2, it says the Lord was with Joseph, so he became a successful man. In verse 3, whatever he did, the Lord caused it to prosper. And Joseph found favor in the sight of Potiphar, his master. Joseph, we find no self-pity in Joseph. Joseph has definitely been through a trauma. And today we hear a lot about trauma. And if anybody's gone through trauma, Joseph certainly had, by being almost murdered by his brothers, cast into a pit, sold into slavery by his own family. And now he's a slave to he had been a very pampered son of a rich man. Now he's a slave to a bodyguard of the captain of the bodyguards for the Pharaoh. But nevertheless, we do not find him feeling sorry for himself. Everywhere we run into Joseph, he's working hard. He's dependable. He finds favor with everybody that he's around. People can rely upon him. He does whatever is put before him, apparently with all of his strength and all of his might. But Joseph had a defect. In verse 6, he was handsome and form and appearance. And Potiphar's wife liked what she saw, and she wants him to lie with her. Now, normally, most people would probably take advantage of that, but not Joseph. Joseph was a different piece of work. He refused the master's wife's desires in verse 8. And we find that his morality is stark contrast to his brothers. He says in this passage, he says, how can I do, verse 9, how could I do this great evil and sin against God? So he didn't want to defraud his master, and he did not want to sin against God. His morals are of the highest caliber possible. But she wouldn't give up. Verse 12, she wants him on another occasion when she had the opportunity to sleep with her. He refuses. Apparently, she had a pretty good hold on his garment, so he just leaves it behind, but that ended up being a mistake. Makes her mad. It makes her really angry with him, and so she turns on him, and she claims that he was trying to take advantage of her and rape her, and told her husband that. Now, there's a lot of people that question whether or not Joseph or Potiphar really believed the story. In this environment, being the man he was in Egyptian customs, he could have had Joseph executed immediately. But he didn't. So maybe there was a possibility he's not buying the full story, but he has to do something. So he throws him into jail, and we find that once again, Joseph is in trouble for doing the right thing. This is the hard part. He's done the right thing. He's done what he's supposed to do, and he finds himself in difficult circumstances once again. What a contrast, though, we have between Joseph and his brothers. Think about it. Reuben was fornicating with one of Jacob's wives. Judah had just fornicated with a harlot and had children by her. Simeon and Levi, back in chapter 34, had slaughtered a whole village of people. And then all the brothers plot to kill Joseph, then settle on selling him into slavery. Joseph instead refuses the sexual temptations that are before him. He does the right thing. He honors God. He honors his master. And yet he pays a great price. And now he's in jail because of his moral purity. What an awful thing that is. And yet the Lord begins to bring favor into his life once again. The jailer sees the kind of man that he is and puts him in charge. Once again, Joseph, in the midst of his difficulties, trauma we would call today, is following the right type of life. He's living morally. He's working hard. We find in him no evidence of any kind of self-pity. He's morally above the great battles that are coming upon him. A very different man than his brothers, which is why the Lord is going to use him in the way that he does.